Welcome to Arts and Props with GL. Today I'm going to show you how to make a simple graphic cat wreath. You could use a star or any type of shape or graphic that you want to use in the center. You can use cutout metal or wood graphics. Wood would actually be a little easier to glue onto the back. The metal's a little bit more tricky, so that might be something you want to consider when picking out your graphic insert. We're starting off with this 14-inch wire wreath form, and what we're going to do is cut out two sections so that we can create a point for our crescent moon. So we're going to cut right before this line. Two whole sections will be taken out, which means that our ends will be open. I'm using wire cutters to cut through this wire wreath form. You might need to turn it around a little bit to get each section so you get the right angle and keep the tool straight up and down when you're cutting. So we're cutting at the bottom and we're cutting at the top, and then we're placing the two full sections off to the side. Now what we're going to do is look at the center part. Right in the middle, we're going to cut it one time on that perpendicular line there, that vertical line, so that we can really create a nice crescent moon shape. Once I do that, I'm going to combine the ends together and I'm going to tape it with a white duct tape. We're going to use mesh tubing to cover the wreath form. So whatever color you're using, you want to use at least a similar color or lighter color of duct tape. And since the material I'm using is lighter, I want to cover the entire wreath form so the green wire doesn't show through. I'm wrapping the corner so I get a really nice corner edge. I'm going to wrap where that wire was sticking up and make sure it isn't sticking up more. If so, I'm just going to hammer it down a little bit, and then I'm going to cover the entire wreath form with the white duct tape. And I'm ready to go with the next step, which is taking the wire mesh tubing. I'm using a white. However, it depends on your Dollar Tree and what colors are in. You can use any color you want for the moon itself. We're just going to glue the end to the very end and just very so slightly start to wrap it around and glue it on. Because we're going around a curve that has a shorter distance on the inside compared to the outside, what I'm doing with the tube meshing is I'm applying a little glue at the bottom and the top, and then I'm holding it onto the bottom, stretching the material taut, and then I'm loosening up on the material and flattening it out to make it wider on top, so that way you get this really nice consistency with the thinner edges being on the inside and the wider edges being on the outside. At this point, I've wrapped the mesh tubing all the way down to the long line I had at the bottom, covering up the other little lines that I had. The reason why I've stopped here is so that I can cut some green wire off of those two sections, so that way I can attach it to the back of the cat and hide it underneath the mesh tubing as I wrap the rest of the mesh tubing around it. In order to glue on the wires, I used E6000 and I let it set and dry. Then I used super glue permanent mounting tape from the Dollar Tree to attach the front wires on the cat to the back of the moon. Now I'm going back with the duct tape to reinforce the wires by just covering them up on the back side prior to going over it with the mesh tubing. I am allowing for the white tape to show by the tail just to make it easier at this point. Now I'm finishing the mesh tubing all the way to the end. To give the graphic design extra support on the back side, we're going to take this branch that I bought at the Dollar Tree and I just cut it off and I sprayed one of them black because it was silver. Now you can buy them in black, and I sprayed it with black so that way it would help contain the glitter. And now I'm using Fabri-Tac glue and a glue gun in order to glue it onto the back side and to glue it onto the cat to give it extra support. I'm using the hot glue to mostly hold the branch in place while the fabric tack glue dries. I add a little fabric glue to the bottom and the top, and then I'll go back and use the hot glue to kind of glue it on a little bit more, and then I'll go back and fill it in with the fabric tack glue. With the hanger, all you're going to do is take a string, or you can use the tube meshing, which is the tube meshing that we use on the moon. Wrap it around your finger, make a knot at the bottom, thread it over the back side, and then make sure the knot's at the bottom. You want to open the place up where the knot is, pinch the top where the loop is, thread it through, and then bring it down so that the knot goes behind on the back side. The last step is really fun. You can buy these clip-on bats like you can at the Dollar Tree. You can just clip them on any way you like, and voila, you have a finished graphic design moon wreath.